All right, so welcome to this deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about Simon Sinek's Start With Why.
Yeah.
This is a book that really gets into like the core of what makes certain people and organizations just so successful and so inspiring.
Yeah.
And it really all comes down to this idea of the golden circle.
Right.
And the idea is that people buy emotionally, not logically.
Absolutely.
So have you ever felt really connected to a company's mission or just felt moved by a speech?
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the kind of stuff we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's more than just the product or the message or whatever.
Totally.
There's something deeper that's going on that's resonating.
And that's where the golden circle comes in.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit about what the golden circle is all about?
Yeah. So the golden circle is basically a way of thinking about how we communicate and connect with people on that deeper level. And it's, as you said, like most companies will start by telling you what they do. And then they'll explain how they do it.
Like, here's our product.
Exactly. Here's our product.
And here's why it's better.
Exactly. Here's all the features and the benefits and, why you need it.
Right.
But truly inspiring leaders and companies kind of flip that script.
They start with why.
Start with why.
So in those concentric circles, the why is at the very core.
The why is the core. It's the purpose. It's the cause. It's the belief. It's the reason your organization exists in the first place.
Right.
It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. And then from there you move outwards to the how.
Okay.
Which are the processes and the values that actually bring that why to life.
Right.
And then finally the outermost circle is the what.
Got it.
Which are the tangible things, the products and services you offer.
Okay, so like Apple.
Yes.
Everyone knows they make computers and phones and all this stuff.
That's their what. Yeah.
But their why is like challenging the status quo.
Exactly.
And thinking differently.
Thinking differently, yeah.
And that drives everything.
It really does.
From how they design to their marketing.
Yeah, they don't lead with, we make computers.
Right.
They lead with their why, and that's what allows them to really connect with people on that emotional level.
Yeah, because people aren't just buying their products, they're buying into that idea of thinking differently.
They're buying into the why.
Yeah.
That's so powerful.
It is powerful.
So what about smaller companies or even individuals that have used this start with why approach?
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at a company like Tom & S Shoes.
Okay.
Their why is all about improving lives through business.
Interesting.
Right. For every pair of shoes you buy, they donate a pair of shoes.
Wow.
And so that purpose is really deeply embedded in their brand.
Yeah.
And it resonates with customers who, want to make a difference with their
But it's not just about profit.
It's not just about profit. It's about making a positive impact.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that emotional connection is way more powerful than any kind of logical argument. Right.
Or any specific product feature.
Right, and Sinek really emphasizes that people buy emotionally, not logically.
He does, yeah.
So it's almost like we're hardwired to respond to why.
I think we are.
Like it's a subconscious thing.
It's like it's deeper than just the surface level.
Totally.
Think about a really powerful speech or something like that.
Okay.
It's not just the words themselves.
Right.
It's the passion behind it, the conviction, the belief that's coming through.
Right.
And a good example of this is Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech.
Yeah.
He wasn't giving a detailed policy proposal.
Right.
It was this powerful articulation of a belief in equality and justice.
It's amazing how a simple why can ignite a movement like that.
It really is.
So how does this all translate into building a successful company or movement?
That's a great question.
How do you go from this powerful why to attracting followers?
Yeah, that's where the idea of early adopters comes in. There's this theory called the law of diffusion of innovation.
Right.
And it basically explains how new ideas spread through society. And it all starts with a small group of innovators.
Right. The risk takers.
Yeah, the ones who are always on the cutting edge.
They're the ones that are always trying new things.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then those innovators influence the early adopters.
Right.
Who are the people that see the potential. And they're willing to champion that idea.
Okay, so they're like the bridge to the early majority.
Exactly. They're the bridge to the early majority.
Got it.
So if you can capture those early adopters, then you're on your way to spreading your message.
Okay, so you've got to start with the early adopter.
You got to start with them, and that's where starting with why is so important.
Yeah.
Because when you lead with your purpose, you naturally attract those early adopters.
Right.
Who really resonate with your beliefs.
They're the ones that are going to spread the word.
Exactly. They become your champions.
Yeah.
They help you reach that wider audience.
This makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like the why is a magnet that draws people in.
It's a magnet, yeah.
So what about companies that maybe don't have a strong why?
Well, that's where we get into the difference between inspiration and manipulation.
Okay.
Some companies will rely on tactics like discounts, pressure tactics, or even fear to get people to act.
It's like those annoying pop-up ads.
Exactly, those annoying pop-up ads.
Act now, limited time offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it might get you to click.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really build loyalty.
Totally.
But inspiration is about connecting with people on a deeper level.
Right. It's about their emotions,
Exactly.
their values, their aspirations.
Yeah, it's appealing to that part of them.
So true leaders inspire rather than manipulate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They understand the power of why, and they use it to create a sense of belonging.
Right.
And rally people around a common goal. They build trust, they foster loyalty,
Yeah.
and they inspire long-term commitment.
Can you give an example of a company that does this well?
Yeah, sure. One company that comes to mind is Harley Davidson.
Uh-huh.
They don't just sell motorcycles. They sell a lifestyle,
Yeah.
a sense of freedom and rebellion.
Right.
And they've created this community of really passionate riders who connect with the brand on an emotional level.
It's like they've tapped into something primal.
Yeah.
Like that desire for adventure
Basically.
and self-expression.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they've built this following by inspiring people, not by manipulating them.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
Well, this has been really eye-opening. I feel like we've already covered so much.
Well, yes.
We talked about the golden circle early adopters, inspiration versus manipulation.
It's a lot.
But I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
We've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
We'll be diving into the biological basis of why.
Okay.
We'll be looking at how to actually uncover our own purpose. And we'll even tackle some of the challenges and misconceptions around this whole approach.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good.
This is going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see where this deep dive takes us next.
Me too.
So, I was thinking about something you said earlier about how that connection with why happens on a deeper level. It's like almost subconscious.
Yeah.
Is there any scientific basis to that?
There is actually. So it all comes down to the way our brains are wired.
Okay.
Sinek talks about the limbic system, which is the part of our brain that's responsible for emotions and decision making.
Okay, so that's the emotional center of our brain.
That's it. That's the emotional center.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that the limbic system doesn't process language the same way that the neocortex does.
Okay.
The neocortex is like the logical part of our brain.
Right.
But the limbic system, it deals with feelings and gut reactions and that sense of trust or distrust.
So when we connect with a company's purpose, it's like the why is speaking directly to that limbic system.
It is. It's bypassing all that rational analysis.
Wow, so it's like a direct line to our emotions.
A direct line to your emotions, yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
It's really powerful.
Okay, let's get practical.
Okay.
How do I define my own why?
Okay.
It feels kind of overwhelming to think about uncovering my core purpose.
Yeah, I get it. It's a big question, and it can feel daunting.
Yeah.
But Sinek suggests starting with some introspection.
Okay.
So just ask yourself, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
I don't know.
What are the things that really excite you?
Yeah.
What problems in the world do you feel passionate about solving?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like it's hard for me to articulate that. It's like they're just these thoughts swirling around in my head.
Well, maybe that's the key. You got to get them out of your head and onto paper.
Okay.
So try journaling about what motivates you.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
Yeah.
What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Okay. I can see how that would help
Yeah.
to get it out there.
Yeah.
But what if somebody's why doesn't seem grand enough? What if it's not solving world hunger?
Yeah.
Or, achieving some huge goal?
Your why doesn't have to be monumental.
Okay.
It can be something simple, something really personal.
Okay.
Maybe it's about, creating a more supportive work environment for your team.
Right.
Or making your customers' lives a little bit easier.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
It's really just about finding that driving force that resonates with you,
Absolutely.
no matter how big or small.
Exactly.
Okay.
And once you have that understanding of your why, you can start to build everything else around it.
Right.
Your how becomes your roadmap
Okay.
for achieving your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And your what becomes the tangible expression of that why.
It's like building a house.
Yeah.
You start with the foundation.
It's a foundation.
The why.
Exactly.
And then everything else is built on top of that.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
But even with the best blueprint, sometimes things don't go according to plan.
Right.
Like, how do we stay true to our why
Yeah.
when we're faced with all these everyday challenges and distractions?
That's a great point, because it's one thing to define your why.
Right.
It's another thing to actually live by it day in and day out.
Yeah.
One strategy that can help is to make your why visible.
Okay.
So write it down, frame it, create a vision board, whatever works for you.
I love visual reminders.
Yeah.
Maybe I should make a screensaver for my phone.
Do
With
it.
my why on it.
I love it.
So I see it every time I pick it up.
Every time.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of sharing your why with others.
Okay.
Talk about it with your team, your family, your friends.
Right.
The more you articulate it, the more deeply ingrained it becomes.
It's like you're reinforcing those neural pathways.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
In your brain.
Yeah.
And it's a journey, right?
It is a journey.
It's not a destination.
That's not a destination.
Your why might evolve,
Yeah,
but that core essence should stay the same.
it should stay consistent.
This is so helpful.
Good.
I feel like I'm starting to really understand this,
Yeah,
but I'm sure there are some misconceptions
Oh, yeah.
or roadblocks
for sure.
that people encounter along the way.
Absolutely.
What are some of those things that trip people up?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest ones is thinking that your why has to be something groundbreaking or
Okay.
world-changing.
Right.
And so people get caught up in trying to find this grand altruistic purpose, and they end up feeling stuck because they don't have like a cure for cancer type of why.
Right. They set the bar too high.
They set the bar too high.
And then they get paralyzed.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the truth is, your why can be deeply personal.
And specific to you,
Right.
it could be about being a supportive parent,
Totally.
building a thriving local business,
Yeah.
or even, just making people smile with your art.
Yeah.
The key is that it has to be authentic and meaningful to you.
So you're not comparing yourself to others.
No.
It's about finding what resonates with you.
Exactly.
Oh.
And another misconception is that defining your why is a one-time exercise.
Oh, right.
People think you can just sit down for an hour, figure it out, and then move on.
It's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
Okay.
It's an ongoing process of
Yeah.
self-discovery and reflection.
So you're constantly checking in with yourself.
Exactly. And reevaluating your purpose and making adjustments as you grow.
Right.
And that can be challenging for some people.
Yeah.
Because it requires you to be introspective and to be open to the idea that your why might shift and change over time.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's a journey.
It's all part of the journey. Are there any other pitfalls or challenges?
Yeah, there are a couple more.
Okay.
One of them is this idea that once you've defined your why, everything will magically fall into place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like people expect to have this epiphany,
Right.
and then suddenly their lives and their businesses will transform overnight.
Like a quick fix.
Yeah, we all want the quick fix.
Totally.
But starting with why is not a guarantee of overnight success.
Right.
It's a framework. It's a way of thinking,
Okay.
and it takes effort and commitment to implement it effectively.
So you're not just passively waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
You're actively using your why.
Exactly.
Okay.
And sometimes living in alignment with your why can be tough.
Right.
It might require you to make hard choices,
Yeah.
to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's unpopular.
It's easy to talk about why when things are good.
Oh, yeah.
But what about when things get tough?
Yeah, when you face setbacks,
Right.
criticism, or even failure.
Yeah, that's when your why really matters.
That's when it becomes your anchor.
Right.
It helps you get through those tough times.
It guides you.
It guides you.
Okay.
A good example of this is Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she faced incredible hardship in her early life.
Yeah.
But her belief in her purpose to empower and uplift others
Right.
helped her overcome those challenges
Yeah.
and build an empire that still inspires millions today.
That's incredible.
It is incredible.
So it's not always a smooth upward trajectory.
It's not.
Right. There are going to be bumps in the road,
Yeah, there will be bumps,
moments of doubt.
of course.
And it's in those moments that your why matters even more.
Yeah, it becomes even more crucial.
It's like a muscle that gets stronger.
Yeah, I like that.
The more you use it,
Exactly.
So the more you exercise that why muscle, the more resilient you become.
Exactly.
So you can push through those tough times.
You can push through it.
Okay.
And that's where having a support system can be so valuable. You know, surround yourself with people who believe in you, who support your vision,
Right.
who encourage you to stay the course.
It's like having your own cheerleading squad.
Yeah, exactly like your own personal cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
And remember, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to reach out to mentors, coaches, trusted friends and family
Right.
when you need that guidance and support.
Okay, this has been really great.
Good.
We've gone so deep into like the practicalities of defining our why, but I can't help but wonder
Yeah.
if there's like a darker side to this.
Okay.
Like, could this be used for manipulative purposes?
Right. Could someone with bad intentions use this to mislead people?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Like, how do we know?
Yeah. How do we discern between genuine inspiration and manipulation?
Right.
Yeah, that's a complex question.
Yeah.
And there's not like a simple answer.
Right.
It requires critical thinking, careful observation, and a healthy dose of skepticism. One red flag to look out for is when a company's actions don't match their why.
Oh, okay.
If they're talking a big game about sustainability, but their practices are harmful to the environment,
Right.
that's a sign that something's not right.
So it's about looking beyond the surface.
Yeah.
And seeing if their words and actions match up.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's also important to pay attention to your own emotional responses. If you're feeling pressured,
Right.
or guilt-tripped,
Yeah.
or manipulated into making a decision,
Yeah.
that's a sign that something might be off.
So trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
If something feels wrong, it probably is.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, it's okay to ask questions,
Yeah.
to challenge assumptions, and to seek out different perspectives.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to think for yourself and to make decisions that align with your own values.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has given me a lot to think about.
Good.
It's clear that starting with why is powerful, but we need to be aware of the potential for misuse.
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
any powerful tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
And it's up to each of us to figure out the difference between genuine inspiration
Right.
and manipulation.
Totally.
That's disguised as purpose.
Well, this has been an incredible journey so far.
Yeah, it has.
We've explored the science behind why. We talked about the practicalities of defining our purpose.
Yeah,
And we've even touched on some of the ethical considerations.
we have.
So what's next?
Well, in our final segment, we're going to be looking at some real-world examples
Okay.
of individuals and organizations that have used this to achieve amazing things.
Cool.
We'll also look at some of the challenges and the triumphs that come with staying true to your purpose when things get tough.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I'm excited to see where this deep dive takes us next.
Me too.
It's wild to think we've covered this much ground already talking about Simon Sinek's Start With Why.
Yeah, there's been a lot to unpack.
Yeah, we went from the golden circle to like emotional connection and even those potential pitfalls of focusing just on the early adopters.
Right, exactly.
But before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear about some real world examples.
Yeah, sure.
You know, companies or people that have really like embodied this start with why approach.
Yeah, for sure. One of the most powerful examples that Sinek gives in his book is the story of the Wright Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, they weren't the only ones trying to achieve flight
Right.
at the
Yeah.
time.
They had those competitors.
They did.
Samuel Pierpont Langley comes to mind.
Yeah.
He had all the funding.
Tons of funding from the government.
Yeah.
A team of brilliant minds.
Yeah. He had the best technology,
Yep. All the resources.
but he failed.
He did.
And the Wright brothers succeeded.
They did. And they didn't have any of that.
Right.
They had limited resources, but they had this unwavering belief
Yeah.
in their purpose.
And that's what drove them forward.
And that's what drove them forward.
Yeah. It's crazy to think how a strong why can like level the playing field.
It really can.
It's not always about having the best resources or the smartest people.
Nope.
It's about having that belief in your purpose.
It really is about the belief.
Yeah.
That's what fuels the action.
Totally.
And that's what inspires others to follow.
So are there any other examples of companies that have really lived by their why?
Oh, yeah, tons. Like take Patagonia, for example.
Okay.
Their why is all about environmental conservation. And that commitment just permeates every part of their business.
Yeah.
Like from the materials they use
Right.
to the policies they advocate for.
Right. It's not just about buying a jacket.
It's not just about the jacket. It's about buying into a vision of a healthier planet.
It's a movement.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about when things get tough?
Yeah,
Because it's easy to talk about why when everything's going well.
it is.
But what happens when we face setbacks?
Yeah, or criticism.
Or even failure?
Right. Well, that's when your why becomes even more important.
Okay.
It becomes your anchor.
Mm-hmm.
It guides you through those tough times.
It gives you that strength.
Yeah, like a good example of this is Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a really tough childhood.
Yeah.
But her belief in her purpose, you know, to empower people, to uplift others,
Yeah.
that's what helped her overcome all of that
Right.
and build this incredible empire.
It's amazing how why can fuel success,
Yeah,
but also give you that strength during tough times.
absolutely.
Right? It's not always a smooth journey.
It's not, it's going to be bumpy.
Right. There are going to be times when you question everything.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's when your why matters the most.
It matters the most then.
It's like a muscle. You have to keep working it
You got to work it out.
to make it stronger.
Yeah. The more you exercise it, the more resilient you become.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so eye-opening.
Good.
You know, we've really gone deep
Yeah.
into this idea of start with why. Deep dive.
Yeah.
Literally.
We've explored the science,
Yeah.
the practical applications,
Yeah.
and even some of the challenges of staying true to your purpose.
We've covered it all.
We have, and I feel like our listeners are probably feeling inspired
I hope so.
to uncover their own why
Yeah.
and to start using this in their own lives.
I hope so too.
Because starting with why is so important.
It's fundamental.
Yeah, for living a more fulfilling and impactful life.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into Simon Sinek's Start with Why, we encourage you to go on your own journey of discovery.
Find your why.
Uncover your why.
Let it guide you.
Yeah, let it guide your actions.
And watch how it changes things.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe your why will spark a movement
It could happen.
that changes the world.
It's possible.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep exploring,
Keep questioning.
diving deep.
See you next time.